Every single thing you see here is free. No matter what it is, you don't have to pay a shekel. Our only rule is that you can only take one of each item when you come here. All kinds of people come here. We get a lot of single mothers, people who got fired during the pandemic, elderly people, people with disabilities, people that have hard times getting by. They come here and they take what they need without feeling like they're being judged. There's no shame here.
This shop is the brainchild of Shani and Osher Shukron. For years, this young couple has been dedicating their lives to helping Israelis in need.
It all started with a Facebook post. I saw a family posting that they were in need of food. They couldn't feed their kids. So I started to reach out to my friends to see if they could help. And quickly I discovered that I was able to raise money and supplies for this family. So I said, why stop here? Each time, I'd raise a couple of 100 shekels for a family in need. Or I'd store goods for them to come and get. And all of a sudden, tons of people were reaching out to me. My house became a pantry. And people would come and get what they needed. Come look at this. I was only off my phone for 15 minutes. And look how many messages I've gotten. It's always like this.
Shani now has a Facebook group called Making Hungry Children Happy, with over 17,000 members. Some are there for help, and others are donors. But many have found themselves moving from one side to the other.
The pandemic changed everything. People who used to be our donors are suddenly reaching out to me for help. It just shows you never know what life can throw at you.
In 2020, Shani gave birth prematurely to her daughter at the height of the coronavirus pandemic.
I was really worried about people coming into my house. So we decided to rent a place and turn it into a supermarket. That way it would be more respectful to people and help them not feel ashamed.
I met my husband when I was really young, only 19 years old. He was 32. At first, when we got married, everything was okay. But a couple of years ago, he just stopped working. He became abusive, so I took my 3 kids and I left him. We left everything behind, and that's when my economic problems really became bad. I had to take on a second job to be able to support my children and to be able to pay for our rent, food, their education, electricity, water bills, you name it. Then one day I read an article on Facebook about the free supermarket, and I reached out to Shani, and she told me I could come without asking me anything. Coming here is a huge help to me. It helps me get the basic necessities that I can't always afford, and it allows me to finally breathe again.
Over 2.5 million Israelis live in poverty, and 23.6% of households in Israel face serious financial hardship, even if they're living just above that poverty line. That's up 14% since the onset of the coronavirus pandemic. In fact, half of all working Israelis earn less than 6,000 shekels a month. That's just over $1,800, and it's nowhere near enough to afford the high cost of living here in Israel, which is spiking with no clear end in sight.
I'm running this entire supermarket without any government support. This is all donations from private people. I'm paying for the rent here with donations. I'm filling the shelves with donations. There's not enough help to help these people. And people who come here are always afraid that I'm going to run out.
Charities shoulder most of the burden for food insecurity in Israel, with a lack of government funding leaving social welfare agencies largely helpless to respond. And even though Israeli officials have just unveiled new measures to combat the rising cost of living, for many, the help just isn't coming fast enough.
We hardly sleep. Every spare moment we're at the store, tidying up supplies, working with the vendors, checking emails, making phone calls. We can't sit still and watch what's happening. We want this initiative to grow and spread all over the country. I know this might not be realistic, but my biggest dream would be to close this place down because everybody would be okay.